Good evening, I'm Kanesatake. Welcome to APTN National News. Thank you for joining us. For the second time in less than a month, the Nisichawayasihk Cree Nation in northern Manitoba has been evacuated due to wildfires in the area. A precautionary evacuation for about 300 high-priority community members was issued on Saturday. Then, a full evacuation order was issued on Sunday after air quality got worse and the possibility that wildfires could close Highway 391, the only road in and out of Nisichawayasihk to Thompson. As of Monday, more than 3,000 people are now evacuating, with many having to stay at the RBC Convention Center in downtown Winnipeg. At least 2 wildfires are burning north of Nisichawayasihk, with one of those fires now 46,000 hectares in size. In a statement, Nisichawayasihk Chief Angela Levasseur said, "As we continue this evacuation together, we ask every parent, grandparent, guardian, and caregiver to please keep a close eye on your children." Nisichawayasihk, also known as Nelson House, is located about 660 kilometers northwest of Winnipeg. Smoke from the hundreds of wildfires in Western Canada has prompted special air quality statements and warnings across the country. Parts of the Northwest Territories, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Ontario are all under air quality warnings, where Environment Canada says extremely high levels of air pollution are present. Some areas in BC, Alberta, and Quebec are also under air quality statements, where poor air quality is expected, but with a lower health risk. Environment Canada recommends limiting time outdoors and rescheduling any outdoor activities or sports.
People really want to avoid outdoor activities and being outdoors when those air quality index ratings are so high. It is really dangerous, especially for those people who have respiratory illness or heart disease or various other kinds of medical conditions, to be outdoors during conditions of that smoky weather. We really try to advise people to stay indoors as much as possible. Use your aircon or air purifier if you have one.
And looking at the larger picture from Environment Canada, you can see smoke from the wildfires in the prairies has settled in over multiple provinces and territories. Conditions are expected to get a bit better by Tuesday and Wednesday in some areas. Last week, Virtual Health Hub and Can Health Network announced a partnership to bring healthcare to northern Saskatchewan using Canadian-made technology. The new technology aims to bridge the gap in access to healthcare in the north. APTN video journalist Rachel May has more.
There'll be opportunities now for the medical professionals, doctors, nurses, lab techs, and so on and so forth, to be able to help with prognoses and to help address some of the healthcare from even the remote areas of our province.
Secretary of State for Rural Development Buckley Belanger says new technology coming to northern Saskatchewan will give residents access to healthcare in their own communities by helping health professionals reach communities they couldn't before.
So these are tools meant to assist them, and so they can make their prognosis and understand the patient's needs better, quicker. And that's the whole effort here.
Dr. Ivar Mendez is director of Virtual Health Hub, one of the companies using technology to bring the North and South closer together. He says medicine now offers better options for patients who can't see a doctor in person.
AI, robotics, improving telecommunications, and the shift since the pandemic, both the provider and the patient, that virtual care is a way of delivering healthcare.
Currently, the Virtual Health Hub operates out of Saskatoon, but through a partnership, a new virtual health center is set to open on Whitecap, Dakota First Nation in February 2027, providing space for doctors, nurses, technologists, and more. Whitecap Chief Darcy Bear says the technology worked well when they put a virtual health hub in a long-term care home.
1 month they would have had 58 emergency room calls. They would have sent 58 of the residents to to emergency room. But because of the having the remote health presence there, and the doctor, the physician was available remotely to work with the nurses inside the Parkridge Care Home, only 8 people had to go to the emergency room.
Chief Bear says he's proud to be a part of the project and excited to see its continued growth.
This is not just about just Saskatchewan working in isolation. We're working with the world and bringing that better health care to Saskatchewan, to all of our citizens, and again, eventually this going global to all Canadians.
Rachel May, APTN National News, Saskatoon.
The Na-Cho Nyak First Nation and the Yukon government have signed an agreement that will see the two parties create a land use plan for around 7% of the territory. This plan is a shared blueprint for how land in a region is managed and used, helping reduce or avoid conflict between different interests. The plan will reflect the rights and responsibilities of Na-Cho Nyak and support sustainable development. The proposed planning region's boundaries fall entirely within the First Nations traditional territory, covering 35,000 kilometers. The MOU marks the 4th land use plan to be initiated under Chapter 11 of the territory's umbrella final agreement. The Mohawk Council of Kanesatake general election was postponed this weekend. The community was notified the day before the election was set to take place, generating some negative reactions online. Under their custom electoral code, the current council mandates have been extended for up to another 6 months. Game Drew is the chief electoral officer for the election. He told APTN News the period to carry out a rescheduled election can take up to 6 months. He says this process will include inviting community members to give feedback on flaws with the current electoral code. Drew says the decision to postpone the election came from multiple issues contributing to what he called an unworkable election. One of the issues was that 3 candidates running for office had criminal records.
I received 19 affidavits at the time of deadline, and I reviewed those. And 3 of the nominees, the applicants, had prior criminal convictions according to court records. And so it appeared that they had falsified their information on the nomination form, because I states very specifically, like we literally copy and paste the eligibility criteria from the code into the nomination forms. In this case, there was 3 individuals that it turned out they said that they didn't have any prior criminal records.
We're always looking for your feedback or story ideas. Here's how you can continue the conversation with us. If you have a story you want to share, send us an email to news@aptn.ca. And to read and watch our stories, you can go to aptnnews.ca. And you can also find us online on your favorite social media sites, including TikTok, LinkedIn, and X. And you can watch this newscast anywhere, anytime on YouTube. Follow APTN News to join the conversation and see our latest stories. Time for a quick break, but first, here's a look at what our reporter Annette Francis is working on for later this week.
Honey, I'm Annette Francis. I'm at Thunderbird Park in Wikwemikong First Nation, where preparations are underway for the annual cultural festival. The event kicks off this evening with an arts and music festival featuring Wikwemikong's own Crystal Shawanda and headliner William Prince. Over the weekend, the excitement continues with a competition powwow and the crowning of Miss Wikwemikong. I'll have more on this in the coming days.
Welcome back. To Australia now, where almost 100 First Nations students have traveled to Gamoy Cairns to get a taste of one of the toughest sports in the world, known as bull riding. And some of the biggest names in the sport saddled up to allow the kids to take the reins. NITV's Dan Rennie reports.
Out of the classroom and grabbing the bull by the horns. These students are getting a behind-the-scenes look at the world of professional bull riding.
Showing the young kids that pretty much I'm on the basics of how to, the equipment and what we do to prepare for bull riding. I think that's rough.
Learning the ropes from the best in the business. The artist taught the finer points of the sport, but also how to take the reins when staging a world-class event.
Some of them wouldn't get to obviously come to the PBR, so to have a backstage experience, to have this opportunity, I know a lot of them are really grateful for it.
Coming from across far north Queensland, each student earning their place by completing the Deadly Choices education program.
They've had 75% attendance at school. That was part of, I guess, the incentive for them to participate today. And then obviously being deadly little leaders in the program.
While it might be their first rodeo, participants hopeful it won't be their last.
I hope to come here again one day.
Yeah, I really like it. It's just a lot of fun to have with your mates and meet all your cousins and that.
Young kids engaged, and we get to go do a bunch of fun things.
The gates, because then I'm in the pit with the bull. The adrenaline rush would be just so good, eh?
It's really fun meeting new people here and learning about how to ride a bull and stuff.
Look at here, everyone, and big smiles.
Bringing the next generation along for the ride. Dan Rennie, NITV News.
Staying in Australia, a Koori chief says not enough native food businesses are owned by Aboriginal people, so he's teaching the next generation of First Nation cooks cultural knowledge as he reclaims bush foods one dish at a time. This report from National Indigenous Television.
Koori chef Chris Jordan is smoking sea mullet.
So we're just making sure it's super hot, this little rack, so she doesn't stick.
It's part of his broader purpose, teaching respect for native ingredients.
See the edges starting to caramelise? Our mission to train young First Nations apprentices and staff and connect to culture through food.
It's just a really nice feeling to get to know something that I didn't know my whole life.
We're just going to add a little pickle.
Chris has a very personal reason to share his knowledge. Growing up in northern New South Wales, he learned little about his Aboriginal heritage.
Speaking to my grandmother, they were told, if anyone asks, tell someone that you're Italian, and there was a lot of shame in the family.
Family means a lot to Chris. As a baby, he lost his father Joseph, a refugee from the former Yugoslavia, and later named his catering business in his honour.
I don't have any memories of him at all. And that's part of the reason why I named my business Three Little Birds. It was his favourite song by Bob Marley.
After a stint in London, Chris returned to Australia to explore his heritage and later found a mentor who changed his life.
The biggest part for me getting sober was meeting Arnie Dale. She has been in the bush food industry for 35 years now. She's an amazing chef.
I'm extremely proud. He's taken Australian native ingredients to another level, and being able to share it with the young people is so important because they are ultimately our future.
For a chef focused on showcasing Indigenous ingredients, sourcing ethically is key. So Chris engages with local businesses and growers, among them this food shed in Brisbane.
It's less than 3% of the bush food industry is Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander owned, and I think that really needs to shift.
So one of our big long-term objectives is we need to get First Nations food into our diets in a mainstream way.
Teaching respect for native foods is taking off at universities across the country.
And these are full of sugar. They're really, really sweet.
They are the foods that have sustained Aboriginal people for 60,000 years. They also require less care, such as water, more pesticides, because they belong here, they grow here.
As well as mentoring trainees, Chris shares his message in school classrooms and juvenile detention centres.
a huge percentage of our First Nations youth that are incarcerated. I thought it was really important to have the opportunity for employment.
For this chef, it's about inspiring change beyond the plate.
I didn't connect to culture until later in life. So passing it down through food and sharing my experience and how it saved my life, I think it's a really strong message.
And we have one more story from the Down Under during this long weekend. 3 traditional owner groups in northwestern Victoria have been granted exclusive native title rights in a historic decision by the federal court. The court sat in Mildura for the decision, with community members turning out to witness the moment in person. NITV's Michael Rennie reports.
A gathering by the Murray River. The smoking ceremony marking a milestone for the region's traditional owners.
This means for my grandchildren, their grandchildren, and it's there for them. It's been a journey for them.
At the on-country federal court hearing near Mildura, Justice Elizabeth Bennett announcing Victoria's first exclusive native title claim.
You have your native title.
The determination covers thousands of square kilometres of the Mallee in Victoria's northwest, including the famous Murray River.
The determination is the first time native title has been recognised along this river. It is fitting that the court sits here, near the river and near the water.
Granted the strongest form of native title, it means Indigenous corporations who already hold titles in the area will determine who can come on country.
Well, it was always our land.
Existing freehold titles such as farms and recreational areas will not be affected by the claim.
Once the wider community understand what we've achieved with this determination, then they need to play a role in helping us.
The native title application was formally lodged in 2015, but the group has been fighting for their rights since the 90s.
It's been going out with my old uncles and all that, 30, 40 years ago, and it's sad they're not here.
A moment of celebration amid new hope for the future. Michael Rennie, NITV News.
We need to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll take you to the East Coast, where a Native Friendship Center in Halifax is getting a new building.
Wisdom and spiritual guidance. This actually means that we will have our own space, that we see ourselves in it, and it belongs to us, and it's going to work for us, and it's going to not just work for my own community, but the broader community as well.
Thanks for staying with us. Time now for our photo of the day. Wilfred Atleo was enjoying a whale watching tour off the coast of Tofino in BC and shared this close-up of an orca flexing his fins near some seals. Great photo, Wilfred. Send us your photos to share at aptn.ca for the chance to be featured as our next photo of the day. Time now to take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. St. John's 19 and sunny there, Charlottetown 22. 15 in Cartwright, La Grande River 18. Saguenay 22 and sun, Quebec City sunny and 23. Peterborough 29, London 31. Sioux Lookout 27, Timmins 24. Norway House 26, God's Lake 30. Rain in Winnipeg at 27, Barons River 26. Rain in Regina at 28, 22 in Saskatoon and showers there. Larange 22 and partly cloudy, Meadow Lake 27. Sunny and high level at 25, Fort McMurray 29. Showers in Lethbridge at 29, Red Deer 25. 25 in Kamloops, Campbell River 15. 23 in Fort Nelson and sunny there, Smithers showers in 15. Beaver Creek 22 in sun, Whitehorse 21. Showers in Watia 19, Yellowknife sunny and 18. Sunny in Sax Harbor at 2, Pawatuck 4. 21 in Chesterfield, Whale Cove, rain and 12. And Arctic Bay, partly cloudy and 3, Agulik 5. In downtown Halifax, the Mi'kmaq Native Friendship Centre held a sprouting ceremony to mark the beginning of construction of the centre's future home. As APTN's Angel Moore reports, it's been a years-long wait for a much-needed building.
This is a sprouting ceremony at the location of the new Wujaywiyan Centre, a birch and ash tree already planted to symbolize the roots of trees holding people together at the future home of the Mi'kmaq Native Friendship Centre. Wujaywiyan means come with us in Mi'kmaq. Ardina Paul attended the event. She is from the Bukingag Mi'kmaq Nation. She moved to Jabukduk about 9 years ago and has seen firsthand the centre's need for a new home.
Whereas all the other previous buildings were spaces already existing that were made to fit or made to work. It was always a compromise, and now it's no longer going to be. It's going to be truly reflective of Mi'kmaq culture. And
the current location was moved into an old call center after the original building was falling apart and was in disrepair. Wujaywiyan Executive Director Pam Glow-DeRoche is looking forward to the new building.
The reality is you know, we're in a space right now that is not fit for us. It's working, and we're thankful for it, but this actually means that we will have our own space, that we see ourselves in it, and it belongs to us, and it's going to work for us, and it's going to not just work for my own community, but the broader community as well.
About 60 community members, politicians, and delegates attended the sprouting ceremony, including Assembly of First Nations Regional Chief Andrea Paul. She says Wujaywiyan supports people on and off reserve.
And also to know that when I have someone from, a community that is in need of help, they're there. You make that connection with the Friendship Center, and they just all kind of gather together and figure all that out. But they also come into community to do support too. And so they keep that connection going.
The 10,000 square meter center will include a health center, education department, birthing unit, and an outdoor gathering space for ceremony, providing over 70 programs to over 8,000 Indigenous people.
You get to come in and sit down and have tea if you want with an elder, and it's just that it's a real community. So, it's seen differently by different people, but I would say the Friendship Center has been doing reconciliation work long before the TRC, and we'll continue to do that work, and we'll continue to do it in a really good way.
The Indigenous-led cultural and community hub is designed by and for the community. Ardina says is needed after receiving support as a university student 9 years ago. Today, she is still part of the community.
I think the impact on having a new building, it's not only a space for the Indigenous community of Halifax to gather, it will be not just a building, but somewhere that you can see yourself in.
The Wujaywiyan Centre is estimated to cost over $68 million, but $15 million still needs to be fundraised. It is expected to open in the summer of 2027. Angel Moore, APTN National News, Jabuktuk, also known as Halifax.
Looks like that will be a nice building when it's built. And that's your evening newscast for this Monday. We're back again for your daytime newscast tomorrow at 12 p.m. noon Winnipeg time. Please join us then. From our HQ in downtown Winnipeg, thank you for watching, and we'll see you again. Ekse.